tú eres muy malo, roto el pato de vestuario. La interpretación siempre negativa, nunca positiva.
Welcome to the first Monday podcast of 2025, with Barca paying a fitting tribute to the new year by giving Real Madrid a 2-5 bath in Jeddah on Sunday to claim the Spanish Supercopa title, the first trophy of the Hansi Flick era, sealed in searing fashion in Saudi Arabia. I am Sam Marsden, joined as ever by Rik Sharma and Tony Marty. Rick, how you doing?
Yeah, nicely. Not doing too badly. Off today. Enjoyed the game yesterday. Great game to watch. And Happy New Year to anyone who hasn't been listening to the Patreon episodes. So it's the first time they're hearing from us this year.
Yeah. This is the first episode of the free sort on a Monday of the year. There have been podcasts during the Christmas period over on Patreon where you can sign up to. Some of them have been free, some of them behind the paywall. Tony, how you doing?
How are you? Good afternoon to everybody.
Yeah, I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm a bit thrown. I'm usually expecting you to hit me with like a little story or a little anecdote, or you've not even mentioned the weather.
No, didn't mention the weather because today better not to mention the weather. It's really cold in Barcelona today. Yeah,
cold, but the sun is shining. The sun is shining on Barcelona, in Barcelona.
Yeah, in both senses, no?
Yeah.
Tony doesn't know what the weather is like because he's been hiding under a rock all weekend because of his terrible fantasy performance.
Nothing to declare. This is a pod to talk about Barca. Please, Rick, if you want to talk about your personal hobbies, use another channel, please.
Tony's fantasy performance can't be any worse than Real Madrid, because for the second time this season, Barca have absolutely battered their classical rivals. After winning 4-0 at the Bernabeu in October in the Liga, they won 5-2 in Saudi Arabia on Sunday night, creating an aggregate score of 9-2 over those two games, and they have also won the Spanish Supercopa for the second time in 3 years, the first trophy of the Hansi Flick era. Barca actually started the game very well but fell behind. Courtois had already made a couple of early saves from Lamine Yamal and Rafinha when Madrid broke from a corner, and Kylian Mbappe took on Alejandro Balde and gave Madrid the lead. But Barca didn't panic. They created more and more chances. Rafinha shot just wide. Lamine Yamal then levelled with a goal, which I'm sure we talk plenty about in a minute. Gavi won a penalty, which Lewandowski converted. Rafinha headed in a third from a brilliant Jules Koundé cross, which was an assist. And Alejandro Balde added the fourth in stoppage time at the end of the first half to make it 4-1 at half-time. A quite incredible first half performance from Barca. They then made it 5-1 early in the second half, Rafinha adding his second of the night. And it could have been, it's probably an exaggeration, but it could have been double figures if Chesney had not been sent off playing in goal his third consecutive start. He was sent off on just before the hour mark for taking down Kylian Mbappe, who was running through on goal. It wasn't a penalty, but it was a red card. Rodrigo scoring from the free kick, which was just outside the area afterwards. But Barcelona, with 10 men, did well. They didn't really look like they were going to crumble, like there was going to be any famous Madrid comeback, and Barcelona won deservedly 5-2, a game which they may have won by an even bigger scoreline if not for Chesney's red card. Rick, great game, a great evening for Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of positive things to take from it. I think starting with the fact that they fell behind. Obviously, that's not a good thing in itself, but the fact they fell behind but still came back really, really strongly and didn't let it stop them after they started the game in the first couple of minutes by making a couple of really good chances. And other sort of positive mental things about the game. Another big Clasico win against Real Madrid. That's 9 goals in 2 games against Madrid. As we were saying on the previous pod, on the Q&A, maybe we had some, they had those big wins against Madrid and Bayern and so on earlier in the season, but then recent results had kind of brought the animo or the morale of the team down a little bit, and it was important to see them to play in another big game and win another big game, another feather in their cap in that respect. And thirdly and lastly for me at the start of the pod, the fact that they, after getting a man sent off, played so confidently. Okay, they immediately let in a goal with the free kick, but after that, I never ever felt Real Madrid were finding a way back into this game. Part of that obviously is to do with Madrid's own poor performance, but Barca were really strong and unlike in, which game was it where they had someone sent off? Celta Vigo, wasn't it? And then they let the lead just absolutely collapse. And Koundé said after the game, he was like, this time we learned from that and we didn't let it happen again.
Yeah, it is a young team that's always learning, and it's probably frivolous to compare the two Clásicos because of the times that they arrived and whatnot. But I thought that if anything, and I know Tony sort of mentioned some of those games against Madrid, Bayern earlier in the season perhaps were a little bit closer than the scoreline suggested, but I felt that this one really was what the scoreline was. It felt like you say, a couple of things you touched on there, two things which were particularly impressive. One was the reaction to falling behind. In the past, Barca have perhaps crumbled to a certain extent, but also just the control they had over the game in the first half. And again, with 10 men, it felt different from that 4-0 for sure. So I'm looking forward to hearing what Tony made of it.
To be honest, I don't like to make big conclusions. This is my law, my rule since last 2 years. I don't want to go too high after a good game, because it's true that Barca played a good game. It's true, but also Madrid created some danger at the beginning. And then for me, the main point regarding the game, the main point that for me gave the Barca the victory, is that it's obvious that this Madrid is more balanced when they play with four midfielders. No, so trying to play, and it's not the first team that has suffered this. Also, Barca suffered this in the past when trying to put in the same lineup Henry, Eto'o, Messi, Ronaldinho. This is not like PlayStation, If you take a look on the results of Real Madrid, when they have performed better this season is when they had or Bellingham or Rodrigo or Vinicius or Mbappe injured, because then it was easy for Ancelotti to go with three real midfielders. This time, Madrid was playing, in fact, only with two real midfielders, Camavinga and Valverde. Rodrigo, winger, Vinicius not helping when it comes to defend. Mbappe, striker, and Bellingham, yes, he runs a lot, but at the end he's there as an offensive player. So Barca found too many spaces between Valverde and Camavinga. So that was for me the main point that brought Barca to win the game. And then for sure, good attitude of Barca with pressing well, knowing what to do, being clinical when you have to be clinical, because if you are not clinical, then things change. With that goal of Rafinha, that header, also important not to miss this. And also, the last thing that makes me say that Barca competed perfectly is another part that was totally needed. When you are one man less, Barca did, yes, what they needed to do, as you have said right now, with some fake injuries in the grass, taking time, being well structured. This is what you needed. So, yeah, perfect game for Barca. Perfect game for Barca, but also it was Madrid that killed themselves.
Yeah, I agree with Tony on Madrid. I'd also throw in with Madrid, not that it's anything new, but obviously not having Dani Carvajal and having the quite lamentable Lucas Vazquez at right back is a big negative for them. And he was ripped to shreds by Rafinha. And also Tchouameni's not had a great season either at centre-back or in defensive midfield. Obviously yesterday at centre-back.
Yeah, Tchouameni at centre-back as well. Yeah, but the 10 men was good. Maybe we're at risk of overplaying it because they were 5-1 when Chesney was sent off and there was just half an hour to go. But the fact that they then scored straight away from the very first free kick, 5-2, sort of creates just a little bit of momentum just to get you for 10 minutes. And they stood strong in that sort of initial 10-15 minutes when you thought maybe Madrid could sort of take advantage of the extra man and the fact they'd scored so quickly. I mean, we could talk about a lot of players. We talk a lot about Lamine Yamal, but I feel like we have to talk about him again because he's just absolutely sort of front and centre of everything. Scored the important goal which got Barca back into the game. I thought both him and Rafinha, they were really sort of calm, both with when Rafinha scored his goal and the second goal that Rafinha scored, not the header, and the one that he set for Alejandro Balde, was sort of taking their time, and when they were getting towards the area and sort of going past a man and not panicking, not shooting too quickly or whatnot. And that was what Lamine did. He sort of ran inside, and it's been compared to Lionel Messi. Rik, what more can we say about Lamine Yamal?
Yeah, this was, for me, certainly his most Messi-like action that he's done in a game. As soon as it happened, I sent you a WhatsApp, also to my colleague Arno as well, was just like, that's pure Messi, that goal, the finish, the sort of pass into the side netting. And actually, to be honest, like you say, you're right about Rafinha's goal too, the one where he dribbled in and then made a lovely little turn in the box to find the angle to shoot. But that goal felt like a FIFA goal or something, like he was a top FIFA player, and it was almost like a computer had just like put it perfectly in the bottom corner. Very un-Rafinha like compared to some of his previous sort of finishes for goals. Often he smashes the ball, and there's a little bit more. I'm trying to think of the word in English now. I'm just thinking of aleatorio in Spanish, but a bit more chance about where the ball goes. Whereas this was just threaded into the net perfectly from Rafinha.
Yeah, I feel like we've normalised, like, not normalised because we talk about him a lot, but like the fact that like I still like it. I know people joke, especially in the Euros, that we go on about Lamin's age, but Lamine Yamal and Pau Kubasi, I don't think Kubasi's turned 18 yet. He turns 18 this month at some point, but they're just 17 years old, and what those guys are doing is like ridiculous. Like the way Lamine sort of just steps up for these big games, and he was just like, I knew we were going to beat Madrid. Sort of the confidence he has and everything around his game, on top of his game. Like,
I do think
it's mad.
Yeah, and I do think actually, after Madrid scored, Barca hadn't created any good chances for the next sort of 15 minutes after that, or so. And actually,
Rafinha shot just wide.
Oh yeah, cross goal. Yeah.
No, but that
okay,
was
apart
before the goal of Mbappe, I think, eh? Or no, it was after.
Just after.
Yeah. Before Rafinha had a header, which was a great save by Courtois. But in that period after Madrid scored, that Barca, they weren't playing like badly by any means, but they hadn't really, apart from maybe that Rafinha chance that Sam mentions, hadn't sort of ripped Madrid open. And Lamine's goal comes not out of nothing, but it's not like a big chance or whatever when he gets the ball. He makes the chance and he scores the chance. And from there, that was a huge turning point. The momentum just completely Barca's way after that.
Yeah, it was a nice pass from Lewandowski, but he still has a lot of work to do. There's a video on social media that someone's clipped together of a goal that Lionel Messi scored against Real Sociedad, where he sort of comes in across. I think Messi actually drifts across a couple more players, but the finish is very, very similar, sort of just so sort of casual, cut back across goal, goalkeeper no chance, almost into the side netting. But it's funny that the Messi moment comes, because obviously we played down the Messi comparison, and he's obviously been... Since the turn of the year, there's been a lot of to talk about, because I think he did the interview, was it with CNN after the Globe Soccer Awards, when he was talking about Neymar, and he's been doing Neymar's celebrations in Saudi Arabia, and he picked that moment to then do the sort of a Messi style sort of goal. Tony, do we need to? What's the ceiling for Lamine Yamal in the next sort of 18 months? Because we've got the World Cup in 2026, Barca in the Champions Leagues. I think he could have won it all. He could have completed football by the time he's 18.
Sí. Let's see, because it's true that his explosion has been, at least for me, has come earlier than I expected. If you ask me before the Euros, what kind of player is Lamine, I would have still said to you, okay, yes, great talent on the future, but right now he needs to appear more often during the games, blah, 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 blah. But now I take a look, and to be honest, you know that I'm normally against this arrogancy regarding that there is in Barcelona regarding La Masia players, but honestly, right now, don't you think is top 5 in the world, Lamine Yamal, in terms of strikers and wingers? You would say that there are more than 5?
I've been saying he's the best player in the world for about 4 months or something.
Yeah, I mean, Mbappe was obviously the Madrid's best forward last night, but there was a question on the ESPN show last night from
Mbappe,
from someone who watched, who said, if you had a final tomorrow, do you pick Vinicius, Salah or Yamal? I don't know if they're the top 3 most differential players. I mean, you've got strikers who score goals. He's injured at the moment.
You have Isak.
Harry Kane in Germany or Haaland. But, when you're looking at sort of players who sort of do it on their own from nothing, it's hard for me to say that anyone is above Salah, Lamine or Vinicius. I guess Mbappe potentially as well.
Yeah.
Mbappe yesterday was his best game for Real Madrid since he's joined the club, and I've been watching very carefully as I own him in the fantasy. And yesterday he was great.
Yes, but it's true, no? That if we do maths and you say that at 17 you are performing like this, obviously we should say that he will be Ballon d'Or next year, no? But unluckily, football doesn't work like this. You can be better at 17 than at 19. So
Ansu Fati for one.
Yeah, well, in this case because there was an injury, but sometimes there is no need to appear an injury to change. But yes, of course, these kind of trophies, individual trophies, depend on what do you win, no? But now it's so far away to talk about this. But imagine that Barca wins Champions League. We are not lying if we say that Lamine Yamal will become automatically main candidate to win the Ballon d'Or, no? So I feel that we are having this debate 3 years earlier than expected. 3 years earlier. And also I didn't want to compare him with Messi, and still I don't want. But yesterday's goal, the way he did, I don't know, I think that's going too fast regarding everything Lamine Yamal. Too fast.
I think you can compare some aspects of him with Messi without comparing him to Messi as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Like until Lamine Yamal scores 70 goals in a season and scores more than 50 goals like 3 seasons in a row or something, I don't think there's any need to sort of compare them as whole players to each other.
Is this conversation unfair on Rafinha, whose numbers have been ridiculous this season? Obviously, also a big role in both Madrid wins, another 2 goals against Madrid in Saudi Arabia.
I think Rafinha's been in sensational form, and he did brilliantly in this game. But I mean, it's anyone who's watching these Barca games, you can tell sort of that. I mean, how good Lamine is in a way that Rafinha isn't in the same way. It doesn't take anything away from Rafinha, and you would say, but on form he is in the world sort of top 20 players or something. But I mean, that's it for me, top 20 maybe.
Yeah. Tony, what did you make of Rafinha and Lamine Yamal's sunglasses in the celebrations?
Circus, but this is circus. Yes. For me, to be honest, I don't want to say that they are going too far. And okay, but please don't forget that it's a Super Cup of Spain. It's the less important trophy. I know that Rafinha suffered a lot when he felt that the club was pushing him to go out. Lamine is a kid, blah 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 blah. But please, when we want to say that Barca is the biggest club in the world, we have to be consequent, coherent. No, so you cannot celebrate a Super Cup. That in fact, if you take a look, what were Barca players doing after winning Super Cups when Messi's period? It was more or less like a friendly game. Take a look. When Messi was playing there, end of the game, beep, beep, beep. Nothing. No one was doing even nothing. Yes, okay, well done. And they were winning titles, one behind the other.
But to be fair, that's at the time, the Super Cup was, I mean, I still think
it was in pre-season.
It's not a great tournament.
And okay, I understand it. But please, if Barca is a big club, for me, it's fine that you celebrate it. Okay, in the grass, with the sunglasses, okay. But come on, stop posting in social media if you are the club as if you won the Champions League. Okay, it's over. I mean, they are going too far. This is like the way they announced Vitor Roque's signing with scenes of a tiger. Come on, you have to be a serious club. And serious club do the right things for the big titles, as Madrid does, winning Champions League. So I think it's only 15 hours or 16 hours since Barca won the game. But I feel that people is going a little bit too far, only with one trophy. Then May comes and you are fucked up in Champions League and you are out of La Liga. And this is time for real winning teams, not right now.
Yeah. I think you're probably right, Tony. But I also think sometimes in football you just have to roll with the punches. And when you've won a game like this, you just enjoy it. And obviously the players are absolutely buzzing, given the criticism they've had in November, shit December. And they've started 2025 in the right way. If I tell you what, if I was a 14-year-old Barca fan with a social media account, I'd be putting that Rafinha sunglass pic as my Avi.
Or not the Lamine Yamal one.
Or Lamine Yamal, one of the two. But there's something about Rafinha. I think Rafinha just does it better.
Tony, does this win and this performance and the fact that Barca are now 6 points behind Atletico Madrid in La Liga, and we know that can change quickly because Barca themselves had a big lead at the start of November. But do you think this perhaps strengthens the argument that perhaps Barca are a better place to win the Champions League this season than La Liga, the way they've delivered in big games this season?
Good question. Good question. I don't think Barca is going to win the Champions League because I think normally you need a little bit more of time to be ready. You need to fail a couple of times when you're ready to then win. Look, Pep Guardiola was ready several times until he won with City. But even if this
Chelsea as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even if this is for me a fact, if you ask me where there are more chances right now, I would say for sure at I don't know if to win, but to reach the final, probably yes. To reach the final, probably yes. Because
obviously winning the Champions League relies on a lot of other factors as well. But I guess because of these Madrid games, the Bayern game, the Borussia Dortmund game, even the Atletico game to an extent, if you group it with them, and that being the only defeat when they did play well, I would say that it's the first time in a long time that I think that Barca are in a position to win the Champions League if everything goes in their way, if they have in the ties, they're at their best, and then other teams, slightly not or whatnot. Whereas in the past, I thought even in that situation, it's very difficult for Barca to win the Champions League. Now it feels like they are definitely cemented among the contenders, and on their day they can beat anyone.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, like Tony said. And I mean, just purely based on the evidence of what we've seen so far this season, I think it's impossible for anyone to say otherwise. Because what evidence have we seen? Barca can beat Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and big teams. What evidence have we seen? They have the players who can win you any individual game. What evidence have we seen? Barca have not been consistent in La Liga and have not had the mentality to beat all the small teams they should have.
And not only this, also I think that, as I said, for me, in terms of depth of squad, Atletico and Real Madrid, they have better players. So in the long term, this is going to punish more Barca. So Madrid and Atletico, they threw lots of points away on the first half of the season, but I don't think the same is going to happen. So if you had this point that was playing in your favor and you didn't take profit of this, now you cannot expect Madrid or Atletico to drop points every 3 weeks. So maybe you will have better results because after winning the Super Cup, for sure, this is going to improve your self-confidence. But also Madrid and Atletico, for me, they will win a lot of games in La Liga. So as far as you are 6 points or 5 points behind, for me, it's going to be a distance very difficult to reduce. So, yeah, for me, Barca is no longer favorite in La Liga.
Let's just switch back to Sunday's win against Real Madrid. And we could talk about a lot of the players, really, because there was the decision to play Chesney over Peña, Chesney getting sent off, Peña coming on, etc. Peña did make a very good save at 5-2, even if there was perhaps some criticism of his first involvement. Perhaps he could have saved that Rodrigo free kick. We've got Koundé's assist. We've got Ronald Araujo coming on to replace the injured Inigo Martinez, who's set to be out for around a month, if not a little bit longer. Araujo coming on in the midst of all this transfer talk about him possibly leaving the club. Balde playing quite well from left back, scoring a goal. Pedri, Casado again, brilliant in midfield. Gavi, Lewandowski again with an assist and a goal. Rick, who would you want to single out? We've obviously spoken about Lamine and Rafinha. Was there anyone that was particularly eye-catching for you?
I mean, those two for me were the best two players, but I was really happy with Lewandowski. I mean, his goal was a penalty, but his hold-up play was good. His pass for Lamine's goal was nice, like you mentioned. Pedri was good. Casado was good. Koundé was good. It's funny because we were talking about the Koundé and assist thing. They ended up giving him a trophy for best assist of the final.
Did they?
Yeah. A huge trophy. I put it in the Discord. I'll send it to you after.
Oh, I've not seen it. Tony, what do you make of that? Jules Koundé's assist? Another assist for Koundé?
Well,
was it an assist?
I think it's obvious that was not an assist, but Rafinha became an assist with great header. Yeah, probably one of the best.
Rafinha gets goal and assist for that goal.
Yeah. Great. It was great, yes.
Any players you particularly liked, Tony? Any performances you particularly liked, apart from the obvious?
To be honest, yesterday, for me, almost all of them were especially brilliant. But especially I want to mention one player that I have been always lazily criticizing him, but for me with reason, because he has a big potential and he has been performing less than 50% of his potential. And this player is Alejandro Balde. And I think he's now doing things better, more calmed when he has to take the final decision. Also, I see that he's very fit again in terms of he's using his speed to help in some counter-attacks. A couple of years ago, we would have never seen Balde scoring that goal because he was not decided to do this. So I think that Balde has made a step forward, and we have to praise him. So all the team was great, brilliant. But especially for me, I think that with the assist that he gave to Gavi against Athletic, now this goal, we can hope to see a new and better version of Balde, and for sure he has potential enough to be better because he needs and he must be better because he can do it.
I know we joke about Tony's criticising Koundé and Balde for not having end product, and then suddenly they come up with assists and goals and stuff. But actually, I don't think Tony was wrong, and I think that the reason they've come up with assists and goals is because it was obviously something they needed to get better at, and they have got better at it.
Yeah. Balde almost scored just before he did score. He had a shot tipped over by Courtois, and then got forward and took his goal really well as well. A really, really good finish. Let's see how that all translates into Rik's ratings.
Yeah, the only sort of bad rating, Szczesny, 5 out of 10. I mean, because of the red card, but also I think on the first goal, I don't really like his sort of body shape. Maybe he can make himself a bit bigger to try and stop Mbappe's finish. It was a great run by Mbappe, but it wasn't like a brilliant finish. It was just one that you're not saying Szczesny should have saved it, but he maybe could have done a little bit better with it. Koundé 8 out of 10, Kubasi 7.5, Inigo Martinez 5.5. I think he also, along with Balde, him and Balde for the first goal, I'm not particularly happy with for Mbappe's goal. Inigo 5.5 before he went off. Balde 7.5, partly marked down because of the first goal, but then he obviously scores a nice goal of his own. Casado 8 out of 10, Pedri 8.5, Gavi 7.5. He won the penalty, which Lewandowski scored. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha 9 out of 10, and Lewandowski 8 out of 10 for me. And then off the bench, Araujo, giving him a 7, and Iñaki Peña 6 out of 10. Yeah, maybe could do a bit better with the free kick, but great save from Mbappe at the end.
Really, Araujo only 7? For me, he was brilliant, Araujo, when he appeared. He won all the duels. He won all the tackles. It's true that he had a yellow card, and it's true that yes, on that action Mbappe was faster, but it's normal. But for me, Araujo was more than a 7. I think it was really nice game from him.
Yeah, amid the sort of shitstorm, for want of a better word, around him before the game, it's quite a big narrative moment when Inigo Martinez goes off and Araujo comes on, having obviously in the build-up wanted a meeting with Flick and wants to go to Juventus.
Iñaki Peña, for me, I normally criticize him, but I think I would give him a lot of credit for that save that he made, because for me, being aware of the fact that Barca players are younger than Madrid, imagine that goal would have been goal of Mbappe, 3-5, there could have been game still. So for me, it was a K save, the one he did, Peña.
Great save. It was quite late in stoppage time though, so I don't know if Madrid would have had it. But I'll tell you what,
was already extra time when this save? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and also the chance before for Bellingham. One of the reasons I gave Koundé an 8 was absolutely sensational challenge by Koundé to stop Bellingham in stoppage time as well.
Tony, just on Araujo, what's the feeling around him, especially now that Inigo Martinez has gone off injured? Does that change the situation? What is the situation as of Monday morning? I know there's going to be, or there was supposed to be meetings this week. I don't know how anything could change after the Super Cup and what happened to Inigo.
It's a long story, but trying to be fast. What I've been told, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, is that the player is the player is decided to leave now because it's different. The player says that he is decided to leave. In my opinion, I go against this. I still think he says something that is not true. But the player says internally that he is decided to leave, that he wants to leave as soon as possible, that he's convinced that it's time for a move. For me, that's not true. Still, for me, he thinks on his head that he maybe could leave, but he will not be brave enough to do the final step to leave. But this is my opinion. He says that he wants to leave as soon as possible. Juventus is analyzing if they are going to offer an important amount to Barca in the following hours. Yes, expected to at least Barca receive 50-55 fixed and plus add-ons. And Barca says that they don't want to have anyone that doesn't want to be in this squad, so they will listen offers, but they say that they want 70. It's part of a plan. They know that they're not going to get 70. With 50, with add-ons, 50 fixed and add-ons, for me, there will be an agreement. And that's the point. There will be meeting in the following hours, contact, where Araujo will have to say, yes, I want to leave. And then let's see if Juventus reaches the point that Barca wants. But there are two things that we should analyze. First thing is that I was told that in case of Barca were not winning the Super Cup, they would not sell him. They won, so more open now the club to sell after winning the trophy. But also the injury of Íñigo, and this is not information because I couldn't ask yet, but this is my opinion. The injury of Íñigo could change everything because now Araujo knows he will play. Barca will ask a little bit more of money. Juventus cannot get to this point, so maybe the talks will break. For me, the injury of Íñigo could change something, but the main point if Araujo keeps saying this week that he wants to leave, as he has been commentating internally and with his camp.
Yeah, there's no point commenting too much more than that, really, because like you say, it's an ever-changing situation, especially with the injury and the talks happening this week. We could go out Monday night with certain information and things could have changed by Tuesday. So let's see what happens with Araujo. Just to finish, I was going to touch on earlier in the podcast, actually. It wasn't a major thing to talk about the refereeing, but it was a bit of a talking point. Gil Manzano, he obviously got both major decisions wrong on the pitch. It was a clear penalty for Gavi. As soon as I saw it, I thought it was one of those ones where, perhaps Gavi has gone looking for it, but Camavinga crashes into his leg with his studs. Clear penalty. And the sending off as well, he missed on the pitch, which was both decisions given by VAR. But just the feeling that he perhaps let a few Madrid players off yellow cards, Rick. There's been a bit of criticism, certainly the Camavinga one, perhaps the Vinicius one. What did you make of the refereeing performance?
Yeah, I think Vinicius could have got a second yellow in that game. Camavinga is kind of an orange card for me, somewhere in between a yellow and a red for the lunge or the late tackle on Gavi. Not great, to be honest. Poor performance. And before the game, actually, I was watching Spanish television. Mateo Laus, the former referee, was on there speaking about it, and he was saying that it was this referee's fourth Super Cup final, and he only ever got one. Mateo Laus, who was seen as a bit of a clown, but also probably the best referee in Spain as well by a lot of people.
Yeah. What's the relevance?
I'm trying. Basically, halfway through saying what I was saying, I realised I was thinking about something I was thinking yesterday, but it isn't very relevant to the pod, which was just like Laos saying that that Manzano was very experienced and he had perfect experience for this kind of game, and that ideally he'd be able to see the game through without any controversy, and that's what the referee needs to do, and he thought he'd be able to do it with all that experience. But then I was like thinking, well, why? That obviously isn't going to be the case, because why are Movistar paying somebody to be on TV to speak about the refereeing if you think the referee is going to get through the game without any trouble?
Yeah, maybe that 1-4 thing might just be a consequence of the change of the format as well during La Jose's time. I guess maybe after tournaments, maybe he was off when the Super Copa was played. Maybe they didn't give it to such high profile refs because it was the two-legged games, depending on who was in the final. Yeah. Could have been circumstances like that.
But although actually now there's half as many Super Cup final games as there used to be, because there used to be two. Now there's only one.
Yeah. Right, Tony, anything to add before we wrap this up? Barca back in action on Wednesday, a quick turnaround. They landed back in Barcelona Monday morning from Saudi Arabia. They play Real Betis on Wednesday in the Copa del Rey last 16. Before then, Joan Laporta will give a press conference on Tuesday, 10 a.m, to explain everything that happened around Dani Olmo's and Pau Victor's registrations. And yeah, so another busy week awaits us. No time for Barca to really enjoy the bath they gave Real Madrid on Sunday.
Yes, it's a period of animal tour. After the turtle, the tiger. After Mbappé, Tigriño. Yeah. Copa del Rey, Barça Betis, Vitor Roque, the tiger, reaching Montjuic again.
I'm gonna dig into my WhatsApp and find a voice note of Tony celebrating signing Vitor Roque and add it to the end of this pod.
Did he send a voice note for celebrating the Tiger?
Celebrating when he signed the Tiger in fantasy, yeah.
Oh, right, in fantasy.
Great things take time. Don't worry, my friend. You were also laughing off my prediction of Rafinha, and now?
Stay positive.
Señores y señoras, acabamos de comprar al mejor tigre del mundo. Felicidades a todo el beticismo.